Drink Up this Saturday morning, the 3rd of May. I was thinking it was the 4th of May because I was thinking about Star Wars. Welcome, China Morgan. But we're just going to play a couple videos this morning. Some questions already coming in for China through her app, actually, Vidlo, which we'll get into this morning. The first one's from my friend Russ in Florida. So hello, Russ.
Hey, good morning. This is Russ Abstein. I'm with Catman Analytics Group. We do category management for CPG brands. And one of the most important aspects to category management is storytelling. And I think one of the things that video and your platform may do well is kind of revolutionize this area of video content creation. I'm wondering how you think CPG brands and companies, such as myself, may be able to use this platform more effectively to understand shopper behavior. Thank you.
All right, China, you're actually on the spot.
You know what? That's actually my favorite industry to work with, right? CPG brands, because you need the insight and you need feedback from your actual customers. So Vidlo allows you to get that easily. You send your customers a link, you're able to get their real feedback, you're able to get their review, and then you're able to share it or use it for internal feedback. So it's an easy way to get those stories, that feedback that you can really use to improve your brand or to share why people love you so much in a very easy way.
I absolutely love that. Let's show one more, then we'll get into about you and being a founder. But I wanted people to see the power of this medium. If I can learn over here to drive.
Morning, China, and you too, Samuel. Just a brief question on my part, since I get involved in a lot of content creator and brand integrations. How do you see yourself comparing to the landscape these days with TikTok, Instagram, and a variety of other content creator avenues for engagement? Love to hear your thoughts, because obviously community engagement for gamers is certainly something that we tap into all the time. Love to hear it. Thanks.
Wow.
Love that question. Love that question. So the thing is I always hone into is that we're not competing against other content creator platforms like Instagram or TikTok. We pretty much allow you to help you create the content that you can amplify on those platforms. So when you use Vidlo, you're able to capture the content easily that's branded and then share it on TikTok and Instagram in order to amplify that message in your community and your engagement there. So that's how we kind of align with those other content creator platforms.
Well, I'm going to have to introduce you to Greg. He's a great friend. We're supposed to have lunch next week. Greg, I promise I'll send you a calendar invite, because last time I just got to tell everybody, last time I met Greg for dinner, I was 30 minutes late.
Oh, were you?
You were emailing me like, are you coming or not? So we got to definitely put it on the calendar, because I lose my mind most days. But China, welcome to Drink Up. I really appreciate it. You know, we became fast friends I guess we talked about a month ago or whatever. And then yesterday we're talking, I'm like, hey, I have an opening. We had a chocolatier that was supposed to change. And anyway, so China, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody, tell a little bit about who you are, what your journey's been, and then I'm going to probably just interject. We're just having coffee this morning.
Okay, let's do it. You know, I wish I had some real coffee or tea with me right here, but I act like I do. Hey everyone, my name is China Morgan. I am the founder of Vidlo. And what we do is we help you turn your customers into your best sales team that you ever had, right? Let's get the people talking about you in video form in an easy way that allows you to amplify it or get internal feedback that you can use to grow your brand. I started off, I was telling Sam before that I was actually getting my master's in healthcare management before I started my tech company in 2016. I had this idea of my first tech company called GIF Out Loud. It allowed you to add music to GIFs to communicate. So you know, people are just texting on the phone all the time, and you don't really get to hear their tone. So I was like, what if we add music or your voice to your GIFs in order to like create that full story? So I started off with that app. We started working with some really cool brands like Shell and Pennzoil, and I realized I had something that could kind of be enterprise there. So we started doing like kiosks, music kiosks for like Formula One event and different retail activations. The pandemic happened, all the events were done. No one wanted to touch a kiosk. And that's when we had to pivot into what we're building now, which is Vidlo.
Are you going to go back, since people are back in the real world now, and interacting? You're going to take Vidlo and make part of it, or?
You know, but we still have GIF Out Loud. We still have the kiosk.
Okay.
Vidlo is just such an easier option because you don't have to ship anything. It's just you can create the campaign in 5 minutes and start capturing content. So it's definitely an easier solution, but we have the option to still do the kiosk.
Yeah. Well, so first of all, I always ask every founder, this question. I usually ask it at the end, but I'm going to ask it at the beginning.
Okay.
Okay, and there's no wrong or right answer. I do have a standard answer that everybody usually gives. We usually get to.
Okay.
But here's the question for you. What's the difference between success and failure?
You know what? I don't think there's a difference. Well, I want to say there isn't a difference, but I guess I don't view failure as a fail. I view failure as a learning lesson. So like if I'm learning from it, then eventually I'm going to get to success.
Okay.
Is that kind of answer it? I mean, I guess that's a different view on it. I think failure is success because you're learning, and learning is a success. You know?
I love that. Actually, there's like a post tomorrow I'm doing. Tried to write it myself. Sometimes I lose a little bit of chat,
Okay.
GPT, but like you lose your voice. Sometimes you do that. It's a great partner, but you got to get your voice out there.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
That's what it's about Vidlo, by the way, because if you're asking the question, it's you asking the question.
Yeah.
It's not AI. You're like when Greg came on. So thank you, Greg. Thank you, Russ, for actually playing with us this morning. I just wanted someone to just ask the question,
Yeah.
through Vidlo. But the answer that I often get is not giving up. But you basically said that because you
Yeah.
looked at failure as a learning, right? There's so many
Yeah.
people that are on the cusp of success, but they
Mhm.
give up. And you're a beacon for someone like me. I'm an entrepreneur for the last 2 years. My partner, Alicia Vargo. Hello, Alicia, if you happen to join out there, and my friends. But it's hard. So
Yeah.
I gotta ask the next question is, I mean, success hasn't happened overnight. What's been hard for you in this journey with both companies? Obviously you hit COVID, you had
Yeah.
to pivot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's been hard?
What I would be hard when I first started my first company is having the network and the people around to support, right? And I think that a lot of entrepreneurs don't know the importance of having a network and having people around that could kind of amplify what you're doing and like send people your way and really just support, give feedback. So I
Yeah,
would say in the beginning that was kind of like one of the hardest hurdles I had to come across. Is just I didn't
yeah.
know anything about tech, didn't have anyone that knew anything about tech, so it was kind of like
So wait a
finding.
minute, you went into the tech business and you had no tech
I didn't know
experience?
anything. Google and Yahoo were my besties when I first started. When I first started, so it was really learning the importance of community, I would say.
Yeah.
And I think as an entrepreneur, you just have to have that resilience. You have to like believe in your product or your idea so much that nothing really matters in terms of like whether you give up or not.
Yeah,
And
but
I think that's
what's been hard for you? What's been the hardest things, maybe the top three things that you've had to go through? I mean, you talked about community, but like, did people take you seriously when you're like, "Hey, I'm going to start a tech company"? Like, how did you get people interested?
You know what? The first support I had were my parents, my family, right? And then
Yeah.
I'm in the Bay Area, so this is Tech Central. So I started going to a lot of networking events, and I was just sharing people my ideas. Some people didn't really think it was going to be a hit. Some people did. So maybe that was a hard part. But
Yeah.
then also, I don't really think I viewed it as a hard part because I believed in it so much that I didn't really care whether or not they believed in it
Right.
or
Well,
not.
hence your answer to
You
my
know?
question is you looked at failures as learnings, right? So
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
such a positive like energy about you because most people when they fail, they just go crawl in the corner and give up, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
like I people lose their jobs, they crawl in the corner and give up. It's like you're an inspiration to people. You didn't
Thank
crawl in the corner and you kept on going. What was I think of this movie I watched. It was called Joy. Joy. It's the lady
Okay.
that made the like it's the mop.
Okay.
She made this mop, and she would go out and she would talk to people about her mop, and no one took her seriously. Can you
Okay.
share like a story when you were starting, when you were trying to get someone to invest with you, and they just put
Yeah.
you off?
Yeah, so actually, I've been bootstrapped my full career. So I never was going out to get investment, right? But I was trying
Okay.
to get a developer on my team for equity, right? This is when
Yeah.
I first started in like this is 2016. And he was like, there's so many apps like that in the App Store. Like, I don't really know why you're doing it. Like, why?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, he's not interested. And I was really hoping he was going to come on board. He was a great developer. And that, if I believed him, that would have set me back, right? Oh my God, this is not going to work. There is so many apps in the App Store like this. Like, why am I doing this, right? But I didn't care that he didn't believe in it. And I just went another route and hired a developer that can build my first MVP. So I think that could have been something that, stopped me.
So
Like,
yeah, I think of the movie scene. The lady's really walking up to like a shop, like a store that sells like cleaning products.
yeah,
And the guy basically tells her, no, I got all these other items on the shelf. And I'm thinking about when I called on Walmart Great company. I'm hoping I'm allowed to say Walmart here, but a week ago last Thursday, and they were very awesome, by the way.
Okay.
They invited us back, but they shared with us that they often don't make big bets. That you got to build your brand at a certain velocity. So how did you what was been the tipping point for Vidlo in terms of like all of a sudden people are like, hey, I'm noticing this app, I got to get involved in it. What's been the tipping point for you?
So there has been a couple of tipping points, right? When we first started Vidlo, we were focused on like music experiences. So it's allowing your brand to create like a sonic sound, like a music that created experiences for your audience to like see the vibe at your live activation or brand activations to share.
Yeah.
And then once we added the testimonial part and people started sharing, they're like, wait a second, I need testimonials. I need reviews. So that was like the first tipping point, I would say, is when we added that feature. And now brands can allow their customers to talk for them in a way that amplified and increased their sales. So that was number one.
Wow. So just let people like be involved with you, communicate back and forth.
Yeah.
So I'd be remiss. I'm going to stream this on the line here so you can read it too, and I'll read it with you. But Greg, who's in gaming, by the way, let's connect on LinkedIn, China. I'm a non-technical executive in tech. Thank God people like you bring the human experience voice to the tech build.
Oh, nice. I would love to connect with you for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, so you'll be a topic of our conversation either at lunch or dinner, Greg. And bring on some questions, please. Anybody that's watching. So I'm just trying to encourage. So this is kind of new to me, by the way. Tech wise, like I'm not a tech guy either. So I've been on. I think I shared with you that I started Riverside, and this morning this is talk about like tech. I was trying to figure out how to get the sound to work when I played the video, but thank gosh I had you, China, to help out.
Listen, and it's your resilience, Sam. You were not going to stop until we figured it out. So
my partner has called me, Alicia, a little bit OCD. When I get my mind on something, I just I can't progress forward anywhere else until I get that particular thing done, and it jams me up. So speaking of jams you up, what's jamming you up right now? What are the barriers to like moving this business forward?
You know what? I would say having a better sales process, right? And I think for any tech company, like your processes are crucial to your success, right? Especially when you want to scale, especially when you want to grow. So it's kind of like perfecting and really amplifying our sales process in a way where it's going without us having to do anything. And I think that's the goal, is that so I won't have to be on demo calls all the time. They could just come on, they're onboarding themselves, and they're able to just, go into the platform. So I'll say that's something that's jamming us up right now, just trying to figure out what works and what doesn't within our.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to giving you feedback. I had no idea. I'm the type of person that doesn't read the instructions, by the way.
Okay. Oh, so you don't do the onboarding process.
And going, it's like you probably would say, hey, there's a help button there. It's like contact us anytime, have a question.
Yeah.
I can see that on the app. Jason Neary out of Chicago. Hey, Jason, thanks for coming on. He has a question.
Okay.
Great to learn more about Vidlo, China. What are the first 3 steps you'd recommend for a new CPG brand to find their voice and style and producing a video marketing?
I think the number one thing you need to know is understand what type of content do you need, right? What type of brand do you want to showcase, and what do you need your prospective customers to hear that you can produce, right? So do they need to hear that you guys are the best coffee brand in the world, that you guys help them sleep better? Figure out what their pain points are, and then have your customers or have your influencers create content around that. So now they're speaking directly to your prospective customers around their pain points. So if they have any questions about buying you, now they don't have any questions because you have a video to prove.
I love it. I mean, obviously, I don't know if you can talk to the thousands of people or millions of people that are on Vidlo. I feel very privileged because she was setting me up the other day, and she's like, well, let's just ask a question, right? And we were supposed to have a chocolatier on today, and we had to pivot.
Yeah.
And China, you joined me, which is awesome, by the way. But I couldn't think of the question. You're a brilliant marketer, by the way. So maybe that should be like another avenue that you can tap into, because I'm sure Jason and Greg, so Jason deals with brands. So CPG brands. He has his own brand, by the way.
Okay.
I believe Jason is an Irish whiskey. I'll be remiss. And Jason, correct me here if I'm wrong. And then he helps us with some of our brands as well. And he's an expert in the space. So I'm sure that these small brands that we work with, they're so small. Can they afford you? I mean, you're probably.
Can. And let me tell you, they're my favorite brands to work with.
Yeah.
One of my favorite brands to work with, just because they need the voice so much, right? When you're a small brand, you need people talking about you in a way that gets other people to know about why they love you, why they should buy from you. And I think simply giving your audience the voice to do that is the best way that a small brand could get awareness, because they can use that for social media. They can put that on their website. They can use it for ads. There's so many ways to repurpose the content.
So I'm not allowed to put Russ and
You are.
Right. Okay, I'll get your permission verbally, but Russ and Greg were brave enough to come on and why are you putting my likeness on everything? I'm like, well, hey, you joined, but I won't.
Yeah. And the cool thing about the platform is as soon as they create the content, they're giving you permission to use the content for however you want to for your branding. So it's always cool to act like those are your buddies, but
yeah, well, I got a few out there. I'm hoping my buddies from Brand Arctica, I'm calling you out if you guys are out there, or Duncan, Mr. Social himself. Are you having coffee, or are you going to come on and join us in the action, or send me a video? So the challenge is out. I sent the 14 people, and I consider them my friends. Number one, they probably thought I was spam the last couple of days.
What's happening here?
Yeah, last couple. Yeah. So listen. So let's get into a little bit about what's happening now. And am I allowed to say the music person you're working with? Am I allowed to mention that?
We can mention that. So one of the cool brands, our artist that we worked with, was Missy Elliott. So we do a lot of music tours as well. So with Vidlo, it's cool because you can get video testimonials, but you can also do music campaigns for artists, for music release parties. So what she wanted to do was create a cool moment during her tour that allowed her fans to create TikTok music content with cool Missy filters to share, so they can amplify her tour during that time.
Also, they're dancing around to her song or whatever.
We created these special effect filters around Missy's album. And then they were able to share it on social during the tour. So that was a really cool project that we worked on.
That's such, it's funny. I work with another company and they do a nice service too. It's called Relatable. But this is such a relatable way of communicating with your customer, your consumer, your target. They feel like they're part of you. It brings the human back into this virtual world.
Yeah.
Right? Was that one of your reasons you did this, to bring humanity back into the?
It was to bring your voice back. And that kind of goes back to when I first started my first tech company. It's what do you sound like? What do people think about your brand, right? Because that's the mover of how you can increase your sales and how you can amplify your brand is, what do people think about you, and what is that voice? What is that brand voice? So I think I've always wanted to bring storytelling back and human touch back into the way that we relate to each other in terms of branding.
Oh, I love it, because I'm going to be Vidlo and everybody to death on LinkedIn. Sorry, they're like, oh my gosh, it's the Vidlo guy coming for me. You know what? My friend Michael talks about this, and I don't know if he's ever going to join us here, but Michael, I call him my sensei. And Michael talks about being human on LinkedIn. And look, I'm a big believer in AI. I love ChatGPT and Perplexity. I love it all. But sometimes don't lose your voice, right?
Yeah.
And if you can use an app like this when you're doing your video, I think that might be an avenue to go down. Or when you post something you want to talk about, hey, go to this app and communicate back with me. Because we always say on LinkedIn, we're like, hey, why don't you DM someone a live video? Well, you can use Vidlo to do that, right?
Yeah. And the cool thing is branded, right? So they know exactly who your brand is. They know exactly where you're coming from. So there's no need for you to edit any of the content that's coming through your dashboard,
Oh, I love that. So you have to be training me. I'm going to be you're going to be my sensei. All right, Michael Sensei, you're going to be China Sensei. So Greg brings another question back. I'll stream it here as well. But Greg's asking, do you see viral challenges as a way to entice the brand fans to participate in video support of a brand, or is it better to leave the creative direction up to them?
Okay, that's a great question. So I always tell brands, you have to incentivize your customers, right? Because they're creating content for you that you're going to use to increase sales, to grow. What are they getting in return for taking the time to do it? So I always say, give them an incentive. People love free things. They love giveaways. They love being showcased on your website. Whatever that looks like for your brand, amplify that in your messaging to get more content coming your way. So it really depends on your brand and your audience, but it's incentivizing them is always a great way to capture more content for your
So,
campaign.
do you have some examples that you could share, like what successful campaign that someone's
Yeah.
actually doing that?
Yeah. So we were working actually with we're working with the CPG brand actually, and they did a giveaway of $500, right? So whoever created the best video,
Yeah.
it enters into a giveaway of $500 once it was closed.
So
So
I
they
can go
were
and
able
create like a video walking around with the brand, talking about it or whatever. Hey,
uh-huh,
Jay Williams, are you listening?
uh-huh.
Freebird?
Yeah.
That's why I wanted you to talk to China. I think it'd be an opportunity. Sorry.
Yeah. You can do that. And then the thing is that when someone hears money, when they see the money, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I want to create the content." And then now you're getting all this flood of content. So I think that brand got around like they got hundreds of videos coming in, but it was within I think like a 3 month time.
So yeah, I was like working hard, like, and everybody's thinking I'm spam, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to get like 30 videos and
Yeah.
try and give me like the Cadillac of like
The
Vidlo or
content.
whatever, you know. So there's obviously different levels you can come in, but
Yeah.
I was like, you know, it's brilliant because if you are a brand like the brand you talked about, and they had hundreds of videos. So what did they do with those videos? They just replay them on the website, or do they
Yeah.
talk to the consumer?
So what they did was they put it in within their content calendar, so they're able to showcase it on their Instagram. I think Instagram was like their main outlet that they
Okay.
wanted to share, and then they also shared them on their website. So they had a section on their website with all their like video testimonials. So then people were able to see them there. And the cool thing within the platform is you can track how many times those testimonials are being played on your website, so you
Oh
can
wow.
see which one is best performing.
So you see the analytics, you
You
provide the
see the
analytics
analytics.
behind it. Are you
Yeah.
able to communicate with those people that posted the video? Do I have like their email? Can I communicate with them or how does
You
that work?
can. So we have a plan where you can get all the CRM data. So you can
Okay.
add that into your CRM database and then keep in contact with them and add them to whatever email campaigns that you're.
I would think that would be the most powerful thing is because, you know, it's like I work for a company called Brown Forman. They own Jack Daniels,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And what Jack Daniels did, and I think they still do it, but you could join like the club, and in
Okay.
the club you got a plot of land, and
Okay.
then they would send you a note about how they were tending to your land. It's like, you know, an inch by an inch, but they
Okay.
would talk about how they were taking care of your land, and it was
Mhm.
just like this great like conversation between one another. So I would think as of like, you know, Russ this morning and Greg, and definitely you and Greg need to talk, and you and Russ need to talk because they gave two different use cases. One
Mhm.
from a category management standpoint, and then Greg's in gaming, and he actually
Mhm.
deals with a lot of influencers, believe it or not. So he,
You know what? We work with influencers in terms of their agencies because sometimes they use our tool to capture the content from the influencers to share with the brand. So that's also a way that we work with
yeah,
influencers.
you and Greg and Russ. I mean, I'll make sure that y'all connect, and we'll put your contact information
Okay.
out there to the world.
Nice.
What's been your greatest failure?
My greatest failure. I think I fail every day, right? I there's things that I try every day that doesn't
Yeah.
work, but then I learn from it and I try it in a different way. Let's see something. Maybe I would say it's kind of like massive outreach. Is something that I failed at recently. Is we created a campaign to outreach to hundreds and thousands of people that we know would benefit from Vitlo, and it's the messaging, right? So now we have to like tweak our messaging in order to like talk to them better. So I think I'm always redefining and trying to perfect something that maybe doesn't work right at first at mass,
Yep.
but we try to figure out how we can fix that, how we can
So running a tech company, I don't know if these are sensitive questions. You can tell me, you don't have to answer them. But how
Mhm.
many people does it take to run a company like Vidlo?
So, right now we're a team of five, but when I say it doesn't really take a lot to run a tech company, I
Yeah.
think you can do it with a team of two, a team of one. I think that now that AI is here, now you can put systems in place, it can really go on autopilot. So I think it just depends on how you want to structure, how much support you want, and then what that looks like for you.
Got it. So it's possible, like if I want to start a tech company,
Uh-huh.
never, well, I guess that's not true. I've been in tech for a few years because I I guess a hybrid tech. In other words, I was vice president of commercial excellence, and underneath my purview at Breakthrough was all the third-party tech companies would come through my office,
Okay.
and then I got a chance to. I was commercial side of the business, but I got a chance to go between those companies, those third-party companies, in our IT department if it was a solution for the business, and then I do some work for a company called Pinata,
Okay.
which is out in New York, and Pinata is a SaaS company that basically helps track tasks. I got
Okay.
to go do a task out in the world, and they're a small, mighty team founded by Josh Juan and Fred Kunda. But so they're great. So I've kind of touched it. So what is it that you're working on now? Like, give us like what's working now, and then after you do that, the next question is going to be, what does the future look like?
So what's working now? I think content creation for us is working now. People
Yeah.
are loving engaging with their communities, with their customers, with their fans.
Yeah.
The fans are happy to create the content. They have the content to share on social. Also social sharing, website sharing. So that's the fact that's the glue, right? That what we do is the
Okay.
human touch of content creation. What we're working on now is adding more features to make it easier for you to share it, right? So whether that's directly sharing to social media directly from the platform, or we're adding some more AI features into the platform just to make it easier to create your campaign. So we're working on a couple of new things that we're going to be launching soon, but more AI and more just making it easier for you to track the sales of your content.
It's just interesting. So I was messing around with TikTok. I've been trying to stream on it forever. I can stream on my phone, but I don't think I have enough followers yet to actually stream live or whatever.
Okay.
What would be interesting is to have a live stream function, kind of like what we're doing on Riverside right here, right?
Okay.
So in other words, could we have a live stream going on through your app the
Okay.
whole bit? So is
Okay.
that possible? Is that
So
something?
tell me the premise behind that. So what would be so when you're wanting your audience to create your content, right? What would that feature be? Like, what's the importance of that feature for live streaming within the platform?
I guess if they're, I guess if they're out in the wild, somehow there's a platform, and if Greg's out at the gaming venue,
Okay.
and he just engaged in this today, which wasn't live, but but if he's out somewhere, that somehow he goes live, and it somehow hits my feed when he goes live if he mentions me.
Oh, I like that. And another thing I like with that is like even if you can go live, maybe we cut the live into different pieces that you can share on social. So it makes them into like these mini videos, like your full live, that you can use to
Yeah,
market.
so
and share.
Greg's backing it up with a question. He says, sounds like a great way to start a creator journey. Post on Vidlo and start your path to becoming an influencer in demand. Real-time engagement with the brand.
I like that. Sammy, I think you have something. You have something that I might have to take from you.
Hey, you know what? It's all right. You're a giver, and I'm going to give back. So it's karma, right?
That's
So
karma. That's
the
karma.
more you give, the more you receive, right? It's just
Yeah.
the way. That's just the way the world works. But so if you
Yeah.
think about that, so sounds like a great way to. This is Greg. A great way to start a creator journey. Post on Vidlo and start your path to becoming an influencer in demand. Have you seen that happen on Vidlo for you?
I have not. What I've seen on Vidlo is more so people just wanting to create the content to share, and they'll
Yeah.
share it on their own platforms. So
Yeah.
like if you want to give your audience the sharing power, they can share the video on their TikTok or Instagram. But what I love about your idea and what Greg said was that now we're pretty much giving them more tools to become like the superstar content creator, right? Like there's no way for them to leave the platform because
Yeah.
they have all the tools that they need to amplify your brand. So I think that's a really, really cool idea.
Yeah, it's like one-stop shop,
One-stop
right?
shop. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so one of the things I talk about on LinkedIn all the time is called live links.
Okay. Okay.
So people have followers, they connect, they comment, but they never meet.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, and they're using, and look, it's fine. I mean, it's obviously people are using it for different reasons. So I'm not questioning why people do what they do or what mediums they use or whatever. But sometimes they have virtual assistants out there in the world, and they act like they're them.
Yeah.
And I'm responding to them, and it's like Shirley from Taiwan is talking to me and acting like she is Frank. I'm changing the names purposely, but I know who you are. But I know how you are. But and then some of us use ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT to just get my thoughts centered the whole bit, and I do like these nice little storyboards the whole bit. But what's interesting about your app is it possible if I did a post?
Yeah.
Okay, and I do a post every morning at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Okay.
I just do. I don't know why. My wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm doing a post at 7 a.m. I know you can actually time your post too or whatever. I've done that.
Actually, do you not schedule them before, so you don't have to wake up
I
early?
I've done that. Full transparency, as I often talk about being out in the wild. But okay, we have Vidlo here, right? This is so cool that I don't know how we even discovered each other, but we discovered each other through
I have no
LinkedIn.
idea. I think I reached. Yeah, I think I reached. We connected on LinkedIn, and then I loved your content because it was kind of like in the space that we're in, kind of, and then we connected from there.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is the next use case is I do this post in the morning, but I always back it up with a question at the end. So I'm always been giving something. You said something for free, right?
Yeah.
So I've been experimenting. I have what's called lead magnets. I mean, I'll just be honest. Everybody out the world, they're a lead magnet, but I'm giving you something for free.
Yeah.
And I learned that from two little girls that had a lemonade stand.
Okay.
I was walking by their lemonade stand and I told them no the first time. The second time I put my headphones on and I said no. They were, but you know what she did? She pulled out a bag. She pulled out this little bag and she said, and she pulled a little treat out. And I had my dog with me and it was a dog biscuit. She gave me something for free. And you know what? I pulled my headphones out. I took the dog biscuit and I said, "How much for the lemonade?" $1.
You know
And
what?
I happily paid that $1. But so I'm thinking, how do we like use Vidlo to, hey, come on, tell me what you want to know from me. I think that's something for free.
But you know what? I love that you said that because I think that's what sales is all about, right? And I think that's when it doesn't feel salesy. It's like when you're educating them or giving them resources that they actually need, so they feel like you're kind of like a leader in the spaces sense, like like they're not even wanting anything from me, and then because they trust you, you just become a voice that they end up buying from. So that's like I think every tech entrepreneur should know that that's the way that you should.
So maybe you go through like, here's this problem.
Yeah.
Here's what I've done in the real world to solve that problem. And by the way, here's like my guide that you could take. And you know what? I'm doing all the talking. I want to hear from you.
I want to hear from you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you because one thing that I've studied and that I know for sure is that people love having a voice. People love to talk. They love to give their opinion. They love to give their feedback. Like that is not hard for people to do. So I think easily allowing them to do it with the link. That's why I think it's been so easy with a lot of our clients because they're able to have their voice. And whatever incentive or resource you give them, I think it just depends on how you understand your audience and what they need from you, Yeah. Because it's not one size fit all with.
Yeah. I mean, I love the comments. One of my friends, and I consider him a sponsor. I'd be remiss not to say, so he's my first sponsor. It's Freebird.
Okay.
Out there. So it's a water owned by Jay Williams. And I need to get some cans, Jay. I know I can
try. Can I try
need to get some cans to show everything. I don't have my Freebird. I should have my Freebird shirt on every time I come to this show. But I would think that a brand like that would want to. And so Jay as a brand, just talking about Jay Williams as a brand. If you follow Jay Williams on LinkedIn, okay, he does this basically a text post, and he talks about stuff that's on his mind in the world. And then people, like hundreds of people, respond back to them via comments. I think it'd be really interesting is to actually have some video responses back from people.
Yeah, because people could text, and I think that's the difference between capturing videos and just texting. Because when you're texting someone, you don't hear their tone. I don't get to see the energy of like how you're saying the response or like what really is the tone of the conversation. So I think that just, like you said, humanizes the response to make me more connected.
Right. Or do you even know that that's actually Shirley in Wisconsin, or is it Bethany in Taiwan?
Yeah.
Who's really responding to me now? I have a thing called just pick up the phone.
Okay.
And people like laugh at me, maybe, I don't know. And is it possible for me to answer everybody's calls? Yes, it is. I may not answer right away when you call, but I promise you, if you call me, I'm going to call you back.
Okay.
But if I'm having that video interaction, like DM your videos to me or through my app, and then I'm going to answer your question like, hey, Russ, I just got your call this morning. And Russ and I always go back and forth. So he has a GoPro. Okay. And he's a surfer. You can see, you saw Russ. He was the guy with the long blonde hair.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
So Russ is, like me, he's on a journey, but one of the things he loves to do is go out and surf. And he'll put like the GoPro, and I've seen the video, he'll put it in his mouth. But it'd be really great for him to actually, ask a couple of questions while he's out there on the surfboard. And he has some, but he's going to do some podcasting where he's actually going to be out in the wild and talking to people, which is really cool, I think. And he could probably use this as well. So I digress. Sorry.
Oh no, but also getting other people, other surfers to like create content for him in the wild as they're doing it, right? So then you have this collection of like everyone in their own space creating content for him, which I think would be really cool.
Well, some of the smartest people on planet Earth are surfers. First of all, I mean, you
Are
got.
they?
I think so. I mean, and then they're just. I mean, you know, a guy like Russ to be able to get on the board and actually get out there and get after it. But again, I'm digressing. So we talked about you work with CPG brands, but let's go through like the channels of business you work with.
Okay.
Like, is it anybody? Like, I mean,
anyone that needs video content. And I know, you know, that's always taboo when it comes to like a business of like not being super niche. But when it comes to video content, B2B, B2C, all types of brands need feedback and testimonials. Like they need content, they need awareness. So there's really no limit on who can use our platform. We work with nonprofits, we work with artists, we work with CPG, e-commerce brands, digital agencies, we work with coffee shops, restaurants, hotels, museums. Anyone that's engaging with their audience can use Bitlo.
I just like when you were talking and I was listening, I was thinking about CEOs.
That too.
I'm a CEO of Intel, Amazon, and I want to hear from my people.
Yeah, it's like employee engagement as well, right? It's like how do we get employees talking about the morale of our company, of our team.
Right. Like, you know, like this, you know, and I know a couple CEOs, they do like the monthly or quarterly engagement, and then they'll have like the round table with their leaders. I had an opportunity to work, you know, support the C-suite. I was a vice president, so I wasn't in the C-suite, but I supported them.
Okay.
So I supported the C-suite, but it's interesting. You'll have town halls, right? I think that this would, like Vidlo would be a great opportunity to actually do a town hall. And get the pre-seated questions or even questions after the town hall because people want to be heard.
Yeah. You know, actually we did one town hall in California where they had a QR code up, and during the town hall, people were able to scan it and like voice their questions. And then now the city has all the questions in one place from the community of like what their concerns are, what their voices are, what questions they have. So that's that was one of our coolest case studies, I would say.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a question. Not everybody wants to be on video. Can you do it without video? Can you do audio?
We can, but we're implementing that feature though, so that you have the option, because a lot of people don't like to be on video, even though video converts way more than any other type of content. So if you can get video, please try to focus on video.
Yeah, I know. Like, I mean, it's taken me a couple years. I've been doing this podcast for 2 years, and the person before this 2 years ago to the person now is totally different. You know, you find your voice.
Were you camera shy? Were you camera shy before?
Camera shy, and it felt awkward talking to the camera the whole bit, and just like the whole bit. And I experienced that with some guests. Sometimes they're just like deers in the headlight. And I have one that's coming on in a few weeks, and she's like, "Do we have to do it live?" I'm like, "I like to do it live, but for you, we'll do the special, you know, non-live version of us communicating." So Greg has another question, actually. So Greg, thank you for engaging with us today. Does Vidlo allow you to inventory your videos and select different content at different times to share it with purpose?
Yes. So in Vidlo, when you capture all your content, it goes to your dashboard. So you're getting all the content in one place, but you can decide which campaign you want to get content from and just select which one you want to download or delete. So you have power within all the content in your platform to choose which video you want to use, which one you don't, which one can stay there, which ones, you know, that's all.
I was thinking, you know, Greg out in the wild, and he posts some things like, I don't know if it's his sons or the gamers he works with, but like he's like gaming's a thing. They have like hundreds of thousands of people in the audience doing stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a world that he lives in. He had a backup question on that. Build campaigns in a sense with my own series of brand related videos based on what I think the brand would like over and above their basic first request.
So you're saying that's what you'll want to do, is build out a dashboard with just all the best videos, and then you can do that. So you can do that. So what you can do is when you get all the videos in one place, you can delete or hide the videos that you don't want in your campaign, and then you can just create a folder. You can download the videos, create a folder, and send that to your clients, and they'll have a folder with all the best videos from the campaign. Does that make sense? Makes sense.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking from a business standpoint, the value, like someone like me, I'm a B2B, so I represent brands. I bring them
Yeah.
and help them find distribution and customers.
Yeah.
Be interesting is we have over 2,000 hospitality workers out in the marketplace, and then I have access through my friend Deborah Brenner. Deborah, if you happen to capture this podcast, which I know you'll be on, but she's the CEO of Women of the Vine and Spirits, which I have to actually introduce you. I think I talked about that. You need to meet
Yeah.
Deborah, but
Okay.
she has access to 55,000 badass bar chicks. Wouldn't it be interesting to hear from every one of those bar chicks about what's
Yeah.
happening in the wild?
And you know why? You know what that would do? That would get other bar chicks to want to work for that company because now they're hearing all these cool stories, why they love working here, how it's helped them in their career. And then that just helps with like how do we build your sales? How do we build your team even more by getting other workers to want to come and be a part of it, you know?
It's interesting. We have over 55 sales agents that work with us. Jason was one of them as a broker, and we all go out in the wild. We all sit on bar stools. Be really interesting is while you're out in the wild. Hey, I just made 5 stops. This is the 3 things I heard, or I could ask a question. And you have to work with me on it. But
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
when you're out in the wild today, what is it that what are the 3 things you learned from your bartender?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And just please
Easy.
share.
Yeah. Yeah, and then share that on your brand's social channels because that makes the brand even more relatable, right? It's just kind of
Right.
like let's hear directly from the people, not from like the ad perspective, but like from the people that are actually working within your company, you know?
Yeah, like we have some like non-alcoholic. So not the NA space as an example, it's less than 1% of adult beverages, okay?
Okay.
And of that 1%, and I'm gonna get close here, but it's 80%, 87% of it is non-alcoholic beer. And
Okay.
of a non-alcoholic beer, it's really 3 brands. It's Guinness, it's Heineken, and it's Athletic.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they're controlling the category. So
Okay.
I think there's huge growth here because I think the consumer is shifted. I'm like I sell alcoholic beverages proudly,
Okay.
and I sell NA products proudly.
Okay.
But I think there's going to be a shift over time. How do we like use
I
your
think
platform to talk about that?
you know what? I think I love that we're talking about this because I seen the shift when I went to Coachella 2, 3 years ago when they
Yeah,
had a section for non-alcoholic beverages. I was like, oh, this is
yeah,
becoming a thing. And I think that space needs a voice because there's a lot of people that don't drink alcohol or that want to slow down on drinking alcohol that no one really hears from or talks about. So I
yeah.
think putting a microphone in their faces to make it cool is what's going to amplify that space because now people are going to be more willing to be like, I don't need, actually, this is actually a cool option for dry January or just for how I want my
Oh,
new
you and
lifestyle.
I are going to be talking. I'm going to introduce you to Juan and Tiffany. They have a
Okay.
product, and they go to Coachella. And as a matter of
Nice.
fact, Tiffany grew up in the circle with her father, going to all these events.
Okay.
So definitely you, Tiffany, and Juan are going to have a conversation. My
Connect.
friend Michael has a question. He says, really cool. Sorry I'm late to the party this AM. Such a unique way to capture feedback and then turn into an ad campaign. Have you ever considered utilizing the tool for concept testing? So a little bit about Michael. So
Okay.
Michael is like flavor. He'll test and develop flavors for brands.
Ah,
Yeah.
super cool. Actually, we do that, Michael. So we're working with this company called Nishfire, and what they do is they give brands AI insights on like what's working in their space, what they should be testing, what is the crowd or the audience really talking about, and
Yeah.
then they use our platform to validate those insights. So we help them test out different questions that they can send to their group of feedback testers,
Yeah.
and they're able to hear what they're saying about their product, about their tasting, or whatever they questions that they have. So that is a space that we also dive into.
I'm definitely have to introduce you to, hopefully Ann and Jody capture this. So some other partners. Ann's out of Maryland, Jody's out of St. Pete, but they work in Hollywood. They're producers, but they have their own
Okay.
brand called Art Rev. So I got to call Art Rev out and try to call all the brands that we work with. But they actually help develop brands too. So they have a
Ah,
co-packer that they're involved with, and they'll bring people in,
okay.
brands in to develop the brands. But it'd be interesting as you're developing the brand flavors to actually bring people in to get their feedback or send them to like a panel and to get
Hmm.
that panel feedback and get them on video like this to hear their reaction.
I love that because you would think that would be the first thing they would do, right? Before they actually create a product. It's like, let's hear from the people. Let's hear what they have to say in
Yeah,
a way that we can really understand what their true reactions are. Because, like, I could
yeah,
give you a text reaction, right? But you really don't know. I could say it's amazing, but I'm like, I'm kind of stale with it, right? But when I see it, when you see in a video, you could kind of depict exactly how they're feeling about when they taste your ice cream or like when they had the non-alcoholic beverage. What was their
yeah.
true emotions
Yeah,
around
I would love you to meet Andy Poe too. So write that name down. Well, I'll connect all these people. But Andy's out of LA. She owns a company called Tastemakers,
it?
and they
Okay.
go out in the wild. So they'll go out into like, Venice Beach, out in the canyons, and they'll intercept those folks and give them like, a gift card, something for free. They have the dog biscuit, like a
Yeah.
$5 thing, and they'll bring them into their area and they'll sit down and ask a series of questions. Be
Okay.
really interesting is I think that Tastemakers actually could use your app
Mm-hmm.
out in the wild to actually grab information too to ask those questions.
Yeah, yeah. And then
You
it's
don't
less
have to actually
restrictive.
go to the canyon anymore. You can go bigger than the canyon.
Yeah. It allows them to save time, right? Having to ask questions because now they can just literally send them a link or just have them scan a QR code wherever they're at. So now they don't have to take out their own device. They don't have to edit the content. It just saves time and the resources from how you can capture a scale of content at one time, you know?
Yeah. So what is your reach? Are you global? Is this a
We're
global
global.
app?
Yeah,
You
so
are?
we have users all around the world. When it comes to Croatia, Thailand, we even have a user in China. It's a
Wow.
yoga
You
studio
got
there.
one in Minnesota now.
We got one in Minnesota. We have some in the UK, so we're a global company.
And are you growing rapidly? Is this like hyper growth?
It is. It goes in phases, right? It goes in phases. So we're kind of right now we're trying to scale that growth right now.
Yeah. Where are your needs? Where can the group here today, where can people help you?
Yes, partnerships. So if you guys have brands that can use the platform, that can bring other people to use that platform, that's what we're focusing on right
Okay.
now. It's always more users, more partnerships that makes sense, right? And that can really
Yeah.
help them capture the content that they need.
Well, there's a lot of people here that will definitely take you. I know Adam Smith's not here. It's his wife's birthday. He promises me that for the rest of the year he's going to show up.
Leon.
Maybe I can take a vacation and go to my wife's birthday, and he can be on the next podcast. Let's see. Greg got answered back all day long. China, I've got him.
Yes, yes, Greg, I need to connect with you. I can't wait to chat with you further.
Yeah, I'll stream that one. I got to give him some love. So here we go. There you go.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna screenshot this and I'm gonna put
Yeah.
this on my own LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, screenshot anything. We can go back and I can put them on in the whole bit. But please,
Love
please.
that.
And then so I have two like kind of communication streams going. I got like LinkedIn,
Okay.
and there's a few people there, and then I got some people live here. But Michael responded back too. He said, let's say this right. He said, "Fantastic. Thank you for answering my question. Super powerful to hear from your target audience before you go to full launch."
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know what? I think a lot of founders get that wrong. When you're starting a tech company, is like you think your idea is amazing. So you're like, this is gonna be $1 billion. And then you don't even talk to your target audience to know whether or not this is a product that they want, right? So they're missing that step and then they're wasting all this money creating something that was never going to work, you know? So I think
Well,
any industry could take that.
Well, Pinata, here's an example. So Pinata is that tech company I talked about, right? And I'll introduce you to Ian.
Okay.
But literally, Ian has his company supports over 200 agencies out in the market. Plus, he works with suppliers like Gallo, Pernod Ricard, Proximo, Mark Anthony, William Grant, and then small suppliers too.
Okay.
But they're out in the wild talking to all these people. It'd be nice to basically, give that Vidlo capability to those gig workers while they're out in the wild talking to consumers. And maybe the question is, with your interactions today with consumers, what is the top 3 things you heard from them about my brand? I'm getting better at this. You're
Yeah,
gonna teach
you are. Because that way we can understand what type of questions we need to really, to give them in order to get the responses that we need, right?
Yeah.
It's like all A/B testing. You're trying to figure out
Yeah.
what really penetrates the market
Yeah.
and what doesn't.
Well, and then those gig workers feel hurt. And by the way, while you're out in the wild, you can take our Vidlo app, and once you just ask a consumer on the spot, hey, just go to Vidlo here. Through this tasting experience with me today, what did you like about the brand? What did you not like? what did you learn or whatever, and then you get the video. You get like real life testimonials right there on the spot.
Right on the spot. And we do that a lot with restaurants. With restaurants, what they'll do is they'll put QR codes on the tables, and then the customers can scan it, be like, oh my gosh, this taco was amazing. It was great. And then they share that on their social, like right on the spot from there.
Oh my God.
That instant contact, that instant feedback, because they're already there. They're tasting it as good. You want to get them in the aha moment, always, Well,
people are probably wondering, because my podcast is called Drink Up, right? Well, why is China on Drink Up? She's not a brand. And people ask me all the time, by the way. I've had like Roger Levaldis, Roger B. Lee, or Marshall and Roger, had Andy Poe on, like these tech companies. But I'm like, people, pay attention. The reason I'm bringing people like China to the party here is that's going to help your brand.
Yeah.
It creates engagement, and you talk about conversion. So let's go back to the video thing, and we have 10 more minutes, and we'll wrap up too. But for the conversion, you talked about a little bit, like the video versus audio. So by like using like an app like yours or your service, what's the difference between like a comment and a video?
Okay, so these are a couple statistics that we know, right? So 79% of people, when they watch a video, are better. They convert more than if they've seen a text or audio testimonial. So video converts better when people see it. Someone sees a video, they're more likely to buy. So those are statistics that we work with and that we know converts well. We've seen a lot of conversions in our platform. So we're working with a restaurant, and they've seen a 42% increase in sales by using their testimonials.
By putting those apps on the table, and then people have a voice.
Yeah. They saw it first because one of our clients, they had like a pop-up restaurant. So then people started sharing their testimonials, and they started selling out every weekend, right? And they linked that back to, oh my gosh, I seen the testimonial that you guys posted on Instagram, and I had to come because.
So obviously the taco comment's real. The taco comment is real. You saw a taco comment.
Oh yeah, I saw. Yeah, we have a couple of restaurant brands that utilize us in their restaurants. So that was a real.
Wow. So for us, we sell, spirits, wine, beer, hemp-based products, and we're in restaurants.
Yeah.
So I would think like if we would go to one of our restaurant partners, be it a major chain or whatever, we say, hey, look, we're going to actually give you access to this app as a provider to actually capture what your consumers are doing. And we're going to introduce you to these chains, which we'll do that.
Yeah.
That helps our brand, and we're going to learn about our brand. So when you do this drink feature with margaritas with my tequila in it, El Texano tequila. Hello, Bob out there in the world, but El Texano, 100% blue agave liter tequila, which you can get really good price. So getting it well, but every time they buy El Texano, we're going to actually capture on this QR code on this menu what's happening.
Yeah. What are they saying about the margarita? Like, why do they love it? So what was it about it that made them want to?
Right. I would think that's more important than the James Beard Award.
I would think so. Let the people talk, right? Put the power in the hands of your customers. They love you the most.
Yeah. 200 customers just last week said they like this margarita, then played on your social media. Is that more powerful than the little sign plaque that says you got the James Beard Award? I think so.
I think so. Because me as I don't want to say a basic consumer, but a regular consumer, we don't really know much about the awards. We don't really care about. We want to know how it tastes and like.
They're never going to see it. They walk by it. They never saw the James Beard Award. That's your appetite. You're talking to yourself. Once you start talking to the consumer, another question comes in from Greg. Greg, first of all, thank you for being so active today. I really, really do appreciate it. Speaking of conversion, is affiliate in the future, ? Direct sales via the video that gives the creator an affiliate rev share, ?
I'll
I'll
that is something, that is something we were thinking about. It's on our long-term.
And you can screenshot these things too, by the way.
Right. And would it be in the recap too? So then I can.
We'll go through it and stuff and make sure.
That's making the videos more interactive. So that's some tech that we're playing with right now, just to see how we can do that. How you can get direct sales directly from a video. The only thing with that is when you download the videos, it no longer can have the technology on there, like once it's on your actual desktop. But within the platform, and maybe even like in that live stream idea that you guys had, that's an easy play to have an affiliate link there, so they can increase their sales.
Well, one of the things I saw, Gary Vaynerchuk, everybody knows who Gary is on, freaking LinkedIn. The guy has like 4 million followers. But I was like a Saturday morning. I'm going through my like liking and stuff like that. And by the way, I got penalized because I had too many comments. You know, if you comment too much, they will actually
On
stop you.
on
LinkedIn
LinkedIn
will
or
stop you. Yes, it's a
oh,
real thing. But I was up to like 200 comments. Where I just went deep last Sunday or
oh, Sam,
whatever.
you're a boss when it comes to this
Yeah, so I'm
LinkedIn
like
game.
commenting whatever, and my friend Michael's like, "No way!" I said, "Yep, I busted it." And but I went back. They gave me back access at 8 o'clock that night or whatever. Like, but they
Okay.
did me a favor because I went out in the wild. But
Okay.
Gary, so I was so a few weeks ago, Gary posted this thing about live social selling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly what that question is. It's kind of like how can they sell it on the spot where it kind of just it's kind of like a seamless experience. And I think that would be something that we'll have to do inside the platform. So even that live streaming option where they
Yeah.
could kind of like sell it right on the spot on there,
Yeah,
you
or
know.
maybe we can stream on Vidlo in the future and do something like this. Sorry,
Hmm.
Riverside, I love you, but you know, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's about like that one-stop shop. If I can have the
Hmm.
total experience and make it easier, and
Yeah.
obviously AI is moving at rapid pace, that you're probably going to be able to do a lot of cool things. All
That
right, so we got 5 minutes left. Did I miss anything that you want to talk about?
You know
We
what?
can
This
go a little
conversation has
longer.
been great. You guys, thank you so much for all the questions. The questions were great. It has me even thinking about
Yeah,
other features that we need to implement. So I appreciate the engagement for sure.
yeah,
And Sam, all your questions were awesome as well.
yeah. Yeah, so like with the last 5 minutes or so, and we can go 7 minutes, 8 minutes, whatever you want, but
Okay.
like what questions have we missed? So thank you for thanking us for asking the questions, and thank you
Yeah.
so much for being here. But what have we missed? Like what
There's
should
a
we have asked you?
there's another question, especially when it comes to brands, right? Is
Yeah,
a lot of times you're always not going to get the feedback that you want, right?
yeah,
Sometimes bad feedback is great feedback because it allows you to learn more about what people don't want and how you can grow from that. So there's a thing that we have in the platform is that you can lock them being able to share your video. I know a lot of brands have that question is, do they have to share the video? Can we block it? And you can block them from sharing content that you don't want, just so you have more control of your brand and what's being put out.
that is good to know because I think I sent out to my friends today and calling out Russ and Greg. Thank you for coming out and putting yourself on the world today stage.
Thank you
You know,
guys.
with the 15 followers we have at Drink Up, thank you for putting out there. But for those of you that didn't, like, put yourself out there,
Yeah.
and ask those questions. You know what? And then if you don't want it shared, or if I don't want you to share anything, you can probably tell me that too. Because that's the other question back of that is, if someone shares a video that's very personal to them, is there a way that they can request that I don't share it?
No, so what you can do is you as the brand, you can hide the share. So when you're getting all the content, then no one can share that content. Like they
Okay.
can't share it on their
Or
channel.
they can ask me, hey, look, you don't mind? I mean, I put it
You
out
can
there
ask
for you,
that.
but don't put it on the world. And I certainly would. So be
Yeah, yeah.
kind, like know your customer.
It's all about
Um,
understanding your audience, who you're sending it out
yeah,
to.
well, I mean, it's funny because I really struggled yesterday. I'm like, okay, what is this? How does this work? You just had the chocolate question. I went in the app and it said chocolate. You're like, no,
Oh,
no, no.
you know what?
That's the title of the campaign. That's not the question.
I know. I didn't delete it. I just went and edited what we already and changed
Right,
it to
right.
the.
It's like, okay, so like, Greg and Russ probably like me, they're like, well, okay, is this about chocolate or is this about, this is about like Vizsla?
But you know what? Sam, they didn't see the chocolate. So you only see the chocolate. The chocolate.
Oh,
So with them, all they see is the tech founder question. They don't see
wow.
anything because I changed the URL
All
and
right,
the
that's okay. So it's good to know. So
yeah.
you could name your campaign anything.
Whatever. I could name it Lollipop. And that's only for you to
Okay.
organize your campaigns. It's not on the for
All
that
right. And
section.
then you can do a campaign, you can stop that campaign, start another campaign on the first
So
level, right?
yeah, so what you can do is you can have multiple campaigns going at the same time. So say for
Yeah.
example, if you want to do a testing, you can segment that testing into different campaigns to get different reactions from subgroups or
Okay.
from, and then you can
Okay.
turn it off, turn it on. You can delete it, however you want to
Oh,
utilize it.
wow. Wow. All right. So with the final couple minutes, what would you want people to leave this conversation with today from you? That you like want them to like if they're gonna remember anything from this conversation, we're gonna obviously publish it back out there on Drink Up Podcast, edited with all the fun bells and whistles that we do. But what do you want to leave people with today?
I'll leave it. There's power in voice, and give your audience a voice. That's what I'll say. Is Voice sells, it engages, it creates communities, and you have to utilize that in order to amplify what you're working on. So give your audience the voice that they can use to amplify your brand.
Oh, wow. And then how can people find you?
Please find me on LinkedIn. I'm always on LinkedIn. That's how me and Sam connected.
You want to put it in the chat right now? Type in
Yeah.
how they find you in the chat, and then I'm going to screen it on the thing so everybody can see it as well.
Okay, and then I'll put it.
And then when I do publish it, I'll put like a connection, at the end or whatever. I found a picture of you today. I hope I was okay.
Oh yeah. Thank you. I was like, I couldn't remember. Did I send that to you or?
I went out there. Here we go. So I'm going to stream this. So here's how you find it. And then here's the vidlo. Let's see if I can. Why is it not? There you go.
There we go. Email. You can reach out to me directly. The email. I always respond all the time.
Yeah. So please, if you're out there right now, please screenshot. Well, thank you so much. This
Sam,
was so
thank you.
awesome. Please remain on the line with me. So a lot of times when we end this thing, a couple of things have happened where the video doesn't upload. So please stay with me. Everybody, thank you. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for taking the time with China and I today on Drink Up, and wishing everybody a great weekend.
Bye, guys. Thank you guys so much.
And then it should stop.